My name's Gilbert. I'm with OptionOneSolar, and today we're doing a customer testimonial with Jeff.
My name's Jeff Deal, and I hired Option One this year to install a solar system, and was totally encouraged by the quality and the product and the price. And I just want to tell you my story. And I told them I do not want somebody coming out or signing a contract online and then you coming out and saying, hey, we're going to need an extra $600, $1,000 because we need to add an extra foot of this or 2 feet of that. And I'm going, wait a second, the quote was for this. Yeah, well, we really didn't know about this. And you couldn't have figured that out in advance?
Yeah.
And so, and it was like $500 to break the contract. It's like, so that was my level of frustration. I was just tired of wondering if I hired somebody, am I all of a sudden say, well, we'd like to do it for what we quoted you for, but here's some extra costs. And so that was probably what got a lot of companies off of my list, because there was no way, they could not guarantee that they would come out and say, no, if this is what we quoted, this is what you're going to pay. And Option One was maybe the only one that would honestly say, what we're quoting you, what you signed for is what you're going to pay.
Yeah.
And if we come out and there's some major thing we missed, there's no cost if you decide not to continue on with the contract. And so it was that level of confidence. I'm going, okay, I can afford to do business.
Yeah.
Because it's the unknown. It's the small print. It's the unknown. And unless someone installs some confidence, and unfortunately a lot of people don't know that. They assume everybody's going to be a straight shooter and they're going to play fairly, and that this is a quote, this is what you're going to pay. I mean, I have other work done around this house, and every other place they come in with a quote and they leave and I pay whatever the quote was. And for some reason, solar is not that way. There's so many solar companies out there that here's the quote, but what you end up with was that, well, here's some extra costs we couldn't tell you about. And they could have told you. They could have gotten some information, they could have sent somebody out, but instead what they did is that, well, if you break the contract, it's $500 or $1,000. And I said, not interested. So I wouldn't sign those contracts for that very reason. That's why with Option One, I signed it because they said, this is the quote. And so Option One wasn't the cheapest one. They weren't the most expensive, but they answered all the questions. They had all the information. They answered every concern I'd had, because I've gone through at least 30 or 40 different companies.
Whoa.
I mean, I could show you the list of all the companies, and I was again, paralysis by analysis. I was so intimidated by the horror stories and about the contractual information that was out there, that all the fine print. I decided that I just wasn't going to do it. And fortunately, we were so fortunate. Courtney, I don't know if you know her, she's in the...
I'm aware, yeah.
So she's in customer service, and so she calls up one day, and I'm so frustrated. I'm just, okay, I'm going to pick company A. And she says, hey, would you still like a quote? And I said, well, it's funny you're calling now, because I'm just about to pull the trigger. And so she gets a hold of Ashton. Ashton calls up. We go through her timing was impeccable. I probably owe this entire project to Courtney. And I'm sure from her perspective, she's going, I've talked to this guy a few times before, and okay. And she has to do her job. And I'm sure she probably has customers that, you know what, I'm probably not going to get anywhere, but I should at least try. And I'm glad she tried, because of her, she opened that door back up again. Ashton walked through, answered every question, and every other concern I'd had with every other company, he answered. And I said, well, I've got these other quotes that I'm interested in. And he says, okay, well, let me give you our quote, and let me answer the questions about the other companies you're going to be working with, or that you're planning on working with, and why we might be a better fit. And that's all she wrote. Ours was a little bit more complicated because we were under NEM 2.0. It was an older application that we hadn't brought to fruition. And so, but it was almost like he had done these for a living. Other companies I talked to, I stumped them with the question. Every time I asked them about this piece of equipment or the NEM 2.0 or extra cost, they were challenged by that information. Ashton was great. And so not only did he give me the information, but it was same day information. I didn't wait a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks.
It was like immediate.
It was immediate. Oh my goodness. I mean, what happens to me, guys like me, I like, in my line of work, when somebody asks me for information, the sooner I can get it back to you is an indication of the other part of my work. In other words, if my communication skills are good, then chances are maybe my product is good as well. And you could say that with Ashton, and Natasha and Courtney and whoever else I dealt with. No matter what, when I needed information, it was nearly immediate. If they didn't know the answer, they got it back, but it was always usually same hour, same day. So at that point, confidence is building. Every time I need something, they've got the information, and it's valid information. It's not just something that they think will satisfy me. It's true information. It's vettable information. So for me, it adds the confidence. At that point, we continue to move forward, and finally, so when I get the quote, and I'm looking at the quote, and I'm looking at the product, and I'm comparing it to everything else. And I'm telling you, there's at least 30 companies between Energy Pal and between Energy Sage and between Yelp and between Google reviews, and I looked at them all. And Better Business Bureau, I checked everything because I didn't want to go through a horror story. And anyway, I think I vetted out option one as good as anybody else, but I had to go through the gauntlet of every other company to find out. And I'm not saying there wasn't good companies out there. I'm sure there were some good companies out there, but I wasn't looking for a good company. I was really looking for an exceptional company. I was looking for a company that I had no anxiety, or as little as anxiety. I mean, you're going to invest a little bit of money here, and so there's always a little bit of anxiety. And I don't really know option one other than my dealings with them. And so the more I dealt with them, the better information I got. The level of anxiety was just nearly gone. And then when they did the install, oh my goodness, they came when they said. They were up on the roof for 4 hours, and they were gone. And I don't know, from an install, I don't know about roof installs, so I couldn't tell. I have nothing to compare it by, except the guy down the street. He did his, and he came by after you guys had left, and he said, I should have called option one. He said, they were there for days and trying to figure out how to make this thing work.
How do we do this?
How do we do this? Yeah.
And
he's like, and he doesn't know. He thinks maybe that's the standard. And then he sees what option one does, and he goes, well, that's how it should have gone. And so anyway, one of the reasons I was particular about it, because I knew other of my neighbors would be looking and asking me about how it went. And I wanted to have something to recommend. And so anyway, and I don't recommend a lot of things. Sometimes I might, I might recommend some things, but when I'm making this kind of an investment and the work comes out as well as it did, it's like, I'm not getting paid to even give you this interview. I just don't want anyone else to go through the hassle I went through. And I'd like them to have the same experience. The whole concept of solar was good, but I was almost willing not to do solar because I didn't like the number of companies out there and the amount of anxiety I was having.
It kind of ties back to that value aspect, right?
Oh my goodness.
Where it's like, you mentioned I'm not looking for a good company. I'm looking for an exceptional company.
Right.
In your Google review, you quite literally said OptionOneSolar is the absolute best,
Right.
And so it really makes me happy to know that, all right, hey, aside from me investing into just solar in general, I decided to invest into the value of this company, because solar is inherently a valuable thing to have, but other companies, they see customers as just numbers, right? They just see it as, I'm going to get this deal, I'm just going to make this money. Whereas option one, we value our customers. We want to ensure that you're informed. And so having Ashton kind of walk you through and answer everything you needed to know immediately, It was like a fresh breath of air, right?
Oh my goodness! You know, like I say, if I compared 30 different companies, and I did, I mean, I could show you the list, and there were different values that each of those companies brought to the table. But if you look at the word integrity, integrity means you're consistent all the way through. This part's good, but this part isn't so good. But this part's good, but this part isn't so good. Option one, the difference was that it was consistent all the way through, from the time I talked to Courtney, like her patience with me, to after she called me several times and wondering if if she could help. Ashton's question, Natasha's a project manager, the crew that came out. I can't tell you where the weak link is because I don't know if there is one. I mean, I'm sure every company's got areas that they're working on. So the company I work for, we have our strengths, we have our weaknesses, but we know what they are and we continue to improve upon that. But in my experience with option one, I couldn't find, again, go back to the word integrity, consistent all the way through. I couldn't find a downside. In fact, we even had a couple of problems as we went through it, solved, one right after the other. And that's why, there is no perfect company. So what you look for is a company that if issues come up, they're solvable. I mean, I go to Starbucks, I drink coffee, I like coffee. However, not every coffee that I've purchased from them has been perfect. However, if I go back and say, hey, this isn't right, guess what they do? They make me another cup. Sometimes I even get a free cup for later. I mean, I trust that if I go to Starbucks, I'm going to get exactly what they promised at a price they promised, and if it's not right, they're going to make it right. That's what I looked for. And now I'm going to spend a large volume of money. Can you find a company that actually produces that level of service? That's what I was looking for. And again, and maybe it didn't exist, and maybe I was looking for something that isn't really out there. But I had to look. And I am fortunate that Courtney called and gave me another shot at this, because I'm sure I was just, again, one of many customers who had, she had her list to go through and who had expressed some interest in solar. And she had talked to me a couple times on the phone, and I was still gathering information. So I don't think she really planned on having a sale that day, but she did, because she was persistent and she was consistent, and she just wanted a yay or nay. She wasn't, she wasn't pushy at all. She was just trying to say, hey, are you still interested in that? And so again, that opened the door. And like I say, by the time it was all said and done, the cost was what it was quoted. I got a timeline. I like timelines, and because someone say, hey, we'll get it done by whenever. The timeline was ahead of schedule. Which is fine for me. I didn't really have a schedule. I just wanted to know that when I could plan on turning the power on. But again, they were ahead of schedule. When the guys came out and did the install, this was interesting. And again, just my limited perspective. But these guys are fast. I mean, they know exactly what they're doing. They pull up, we talk, they tell me what they're about to do, and they get to work. 4 hours later, they're done. The other part I liked about the install group was these guys are lightweight. In other words, I don't have these very large people on my roof. I mean, I've got
crashing through
I know.
Big holes.
Yeah, honestly, I redid my roof in another home. I don't like doing roofing, but I will do it if I just to save a few bucks. Anyway, so I've done at least a couple of roofs, and so me and my wife. And we ripped everything off. We put everything back, and the state inspector came out to look at the roofing, and he pulled up, and he was a fairly large gentleman. I go, oh no, you're not going to get on my roof, are you? And I'm thinking this. I didn't say that. You don't want to say that to the state inspector. And he sits in his car and he looks up there and he says, look at me. I'm not getting on your roof. Anyway, the breath of fresh air. I mean, it's like, because anyway, he just wanted to make sure it was well done. And I mean, I'm sure he was doing his job, whatever, within his parameters. But honestly, I didn't want to create any new problems with having people on my roof. I'm putting constant extra weight. And again, I know I don't want to be harsh or critical, but honestly, when you get young men who are lean and mean and fight machines, and they're up there elbows and knees, and they're just getting their work done, and they're up, they're done. I'm pretty confident that it's with the least amount of impact to my roof. And that's what I liked. So anyway, and I told the guys that I don't want to be critical of people that were, large, but I mean, bottom line, when you have a roof and you're putting a lot of weight up there, for a homeowner, that means something to me.
Oh, yeah.
So
that's why I'm here, If I got up there, I'd fall right through, like, oh no.
Yeah, so that's why I don't do roofs. I couldn't do it fast enough. And again, those guys were fast and efficient and friendly. And honestly, they made the job look easy. I liked it. I was, like I say, I talked to some of the guys at work. Some of the guys at work have solar. One of the guys has a lease program. He hates it. He absolutely hates it. But he didn't know. Initially, a lot of leases were sold, and again, I was about to buy a lease. That's what started this whole program. Is somebody from one of the local companies or regional companies wanted to lease a solar system on my roof. But after doing the research, I go, that's a waste of money.
Oh yeah.
Buy your own, and basically, our return on investment is going to be about 5 years. In 5 years, that system is paid for, and for the rest of my life, it'll outlast me. That's how long that system is going to last. I mean, based on all the warranty on it. You can't beat that. I mean, I'm going to have 20 years of free. I mean, if I want to sell this place, oh, by the way, I turned this entire home into all electrical. I removed all gas, and everything is electrical for that solar system. I've been planning this for, for 3 years.
Oh, okay.
So the hot water heater, there's a hybrid hot water heater, and so everything gas was pulled out, everything efficient electric was put in, mini splits were put in, and it was all designed for the solar system that I was going to put in. So I'd put a lot of thought into getting the house ready. It was just finding the right system and the right company to put in the right system. And so anyway, it actually worked out perfect, because by the time I got all the install of the appliances that I wanted, now it was trying to find in fact, at one point, I thought, you know what, I'm tired of looking. I'm gonna do it myself. And so I started looking at all these solar wholesale places and buying parts and stuff like that. And maybe for some people that would be a good thing. But I honestly don't do that for a living.
Yeah.
I'm not an electrician. And for the cost difference of me buying the parts and having somebody else get the parts and do the install, we go back to value. My time was worth a whole lot more than it's going to take me 5-6 times longer than it would obviously in a professional company. So for me, it's the value is, again, for me, it was a time savings. It was an anxiety savings. And now I'm just kind of smiling and waiting for my rebate check at the end of the year to get my 30%. Yeah. So honestly, there was really not a downside. It's just you just got to find the right company. If you don't find the right company, it could be a nightmare. If you find the right company, you're smiling all the way to the bank, and I'm smiling all the way to the bank. So I can't say enough good about Option One. Honestly, I can't. I mean, and I do not. I do a fair amount of, online, you do Yelp reviews and you do a variety of critiques. And I really try, if something doesn't work out, I want people to know, hey, be cautious of company X. But if a company does well and by me, and I've gotten value, and I believe it's a consistent value, not like it's a one-off company, I just got lucky with that company. I'm going to let people know, you gotta do some work with these guys, because if you're going to install it, it's not worth the headache of going through a fly-by-night company and hoping that it works out for you. So anyway, it was a win-win for me.
Oh, that's amazing. I love that you are genuinely satisfied and happy. It's very much refreshing, especially in this landscape of different solar companies who don't value integrity. So on that note, if you were to recommend anybody going solar and which reliable company they should go for, what would you say to someone who is looking to going solar?
I would say ask everybody else and do Option One last. And I'll tell you why. Because then you'll see the contrast. Because that's where I found the value, because I had no idea what the value was. How do you know if you've never bought it before and you're only going to buy it once in a lifetime? How are you going to know? And so we basically went to these clearinghouses where they have a whole pile of companies that'll give you quotes. And I went to several of those clearinghouses. So I went to those clearinghouses and they sent me piles of quotes, and I went through it and looked at different, research there. And I went through Yelp and I researched them that way. And I went through Google and I researched them that way. And I went through Better Business Bureau and I researched them that way. Oh my goodness. My wife wondered if I was ever going to get this project done. But I went through all that, and by the time I was done, I had an idea of where the sticking points were. I knew where the quality points were. I knew where the warranty problems might be. I knew what installation issues might be. And so I had a boatload of questions that nobody could answer consistently. And then I got a hold of Option One. And so I took all the things I had learned, and again, I'm no expert, but I'm about to invest some money, and I'd like to think that I did a good job. And so I took all the information that I had learned, and I put that in front of Option One. And I was thinking I was going to get some weak spots here and some weak spots here and some weak spots here, because that's what I'd receive. I had no idea that Option One would be any better, any worse. It would just be one of the many. They weren't one of the many. They were totally different. I had not found one. And again, I'm not saying there weren't good companies out there, but they're hard to find. Now, at one point I thought, well, maybe I should just check with an electrical company. I thought, well, electricians, this is electricity, and makes sense. So I decided to check with some and maybe they were good, but their costs were exorbitant. I mean, it was almost, I don't say double, but like 1.5 times more in cost. And I'm thinking, man, why does an electrical company cost so much more to do solar? And what I guess my conclusion was, I would rather have a solar company that has electricians rather than electricians who do solar as part of their work. And I think that from the solar perspective, it's a much more efficient operation to say, we do solar, that's all we do, and we have electricians who do the install. And from a cost savings, from an efficiency, from just professional install, that seemed to be the perfect mix for me. I mean, if I was recommending, I say you can check with electricians locally. I would do that. Get some costs. You're going to find out that they're, in my experience, were significantly higher. They may be good, but they're going to be a lot higher. You can check with the clearinghouses. They're going to give you a whole volume of quotes. Go to Google Review. In fact, it was interesting. I tell people to go to reviews. Look at reviews. I mean, you take them with a grain of salt because obviously they can be skewed. I had one company that they were like a 5-star company. I go, man, these guys are good. Well, if you look at the dates, they were all put in like about a 30-day time period. My impression, they were writing their own reviews as fast as they could. And I'm going, there's no way. I mean, it's like, now, if you're not aware, you go, wow, it's a 5-star company. That doesn't help me. What I need is a much broader perspective. So that's why with Option One, I was looking at, I looked at their Yelp reviews. I looked at their Google reviews. I did as much research on any of the companies that I looked at. And honestly, that's why I would tell people, if you're looking for solar, look everywhere else. Take all the questions, information, and quotes you have, then go see Option One. Now, is their price going to be the best? I have no idea whether it's going to be the best or not. I'll tell you, in the quotes I received them here, and Option One was right here. But the value in that, they saved me time, energy, money, frustration, and anxiety. And it's like, honestly, that was invaluable to me. And so once I knew that, I told my wife, this is where we're going. Again, Ashton kept the ball rolling, and Natasha kept the project constantly updated. I was never at a lack of information. I never said, when's those Option One guys going to get here? When are they going to respond to my emails? When are they going to respond to my text? I never said that. Why? Because it never needed to be said. I got all the information I need, and it was a confidence builder, honestly. I wish it'd been nice if I hadn't taken so long. I might have gotten this installed last year. But in either case, it was still good, because honestly, I felt like by the time I was said and done, I got exactly what I needed and what I wanted. And if you ask me what I expect out of this system right now, I expect for the next 25 years, I'm going to get good electricity, and if I have any problems, I'm going to call Option One, and they're going to fix it. That's just what they do. So honestly, that's a no-worry system. So somebody in my neighborhood, and I've got like 150 mobile home park people who live here, and they say, hey, Jeff, we saw the install. What did you think? I go, let me tell you my story, which is what I'm telling you. This is my story. Here's all the, and I'll show you, here's what I got from everybody else. I'll give them all the information, everything that I learned. But I said, my guess, you'll come to the same conclusion. If there's a better company out there, and there may be, I don't know, I don't have that much time. But honestly, I got 2.5 years, 3 years of looking at solar companies. It's like, there was no question. It's like these guys, and they're local, they're in your region. And so it's not like, I had one company who was out of San Francisco. I mean, it was good quote. I mean, the price was, wow, this is a great price point. And they promised they use their own people. Not so sure how they do that because they're based out of San Francisco. But the quote was really nice. And but that was the same company that was writing all their own reviews.
Okay.
Right. So honestly, if a company is going to do that as part of their marketing program, you want them on your roof installing a system? Not me. The integrity of the company has to be good. It's like, you know what? They can't be willing to shortchange their marketing and then say, oh yeah, but we're good here. I mean, in my line of work, marketing is everything. I have to market something, and then when people buy what I have to sell, they've got to say, wow, that was great, and they have to recommend me to somebody else. That's how I get my business, is word of mouth. And guess what? Business is good. Why? Because we market and we produce it looks exactly what we say. In fact, hopefully, it's better than what we say. We hope that, I'm not saying we haven't had, that in our company, we haven't had challenges, but at the same time, part of my job is that when a challenge comes up, you can count on me 24/7. I'll be there to fix it. And that's what's given my company the reputation. So when I looked at Option One, I kind of look at life like how I run my company. And my expectation there is, it's a pretty high expectation. It's like, I expect you to do what you say you're going to do at a price you say you're going to do it at. And if there's a problem, you're going to fix it. Perfect. That's all I need. If that's what people offer. And so the companies I do business with produce that level of service. And so anyway, now I'm a happy customer.
It's awesome. I'm glad to hear that. Just talking with you, seeing how much you're smiling and happy, like recollecting, it's like, it makes me happy to know that, like, okay, like our customers are satisfied.
Yeah.
Our customers, and especially you mentioned also like a neighbor who witnessed and saw the install. It's like, wow, they were in and out. It's like, makes me feel good.
Yeah,
I'm very happy.
Yeah, no, there's a level of efficiency there that you guys, I mean, even for the marketing department, if you're working for a company and you've got to go market something and you're going, great, I really don't even believe in my own product, but I got to go out and try to sell this thing. I think for your job, it's got to be easy, because it's like, my sense is that most people who've done, if not all, who've done business with Option One have found probably similar results that I've found. So it's nice to market something you believe in.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, because I couldn't sell something that I don't want to make money just off a product that I don't believe in, and so I won't sell it. I would rather be a poor man, and have my integrity, than to go out and market products that I know that they're kind of a little shoddy, but at least I'm making money and feeding my family. I'll go do something else. Yeah. I'll be a Walmart greeter, or I'll be I'll do something that has a little bit of integrity to it, rather than make some money but kind of shortchange the guy down the street. Not going to do it. It's not worth it. And I never felt that, like I say, I never felt that way with Option One, that I thought they were reasonable. Again, sometimes, even in a low price, you think, okay, I'm getting the best deal. The best deal isn't the low deal. Now, sometimes it might be, but I wasn't looking for we go back to the word value. I was looking for value. I was looking, save me some time, save me some energy, save me some anxiety. Do what you say. So, yeah, no, all good.
Yeah, this was wonderful. Thank you so much for having this testimonial, letting us come out here to your home and just I can hear your story.
Yeah, no, honestly, it's like I say, if I don't think anybody would be disappointed. Like I say, unless you guys change something in the next 24 hours or 24 months, the product you offer to me is exceptional. And again, for my 3 years of looking into solar companies, I want you guys to be successful, because I'd really hate for people to go through some of the poor experiences that I know are out there. Again, there may be other great companies out there. They were hard to find. So I want people to say, no, Option Ones, they're right there. They're upstairs. They're up in Victorville. They're in the region, I couldn't say enough good things. You asked me, what can you find one bad thing about the company? Nope, sorry, can't. It's not there. I just don't have it. It's just not. And again, I know that you work within your company, and you know the challenges that every company has. But the bottom line is, I use the word characteristically. What is your company characteristically known by? And honestly, characteristically, again, I'm only one customer, but I'm telling you, every aspect of it was consistent. Okay, I can't ask for more than that. And I'm getting my money back in 5 years. Score. So
awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jeff. This was amazing.
Good.
Honestly,
good.
It was wonderful to meet you too.
Yeah, you as well. I'm glad you guys came out. So our humble abode.
Yes.